Richard Currie, Power, Authority, and Accountability. Since 2021, one man has repositioned himself at the center of Maroon governance, not just as a community leader, but as a sovereign authority, answerable to no one. His name is Richard Currie, Colonel of the Accompong Maroons. And tonight, Accompong Network News examines the gap between what has been said and what has actually taken place. Rise to power. Elected in January 2021, Currie entered office projecting a bold, unapologetic leadership style. He moved quickly to frame Accompong not as a community within Jamaica, but as a sovereign, treaty-based nation. Under his administration, Maroon sovereignty became a global conversation. Resistance to bauxite mining in Cockpit country intensified, and Accompong gained international attention. Supporters call it progress. The record raises questions. The money, $50 million. In 2021, a major financial announcement was made. A proposed $50 million investment tied to a digital currency system known as the NUC stablecoin. The proposal included long-term funding over 15 years, investment in water, agriculture, and infrastructure, and the introduction of a new digital economic system for the community. It was a significant announcement. But when examined closely, there is no publicly verifiable proof the full funding exists. The financial structure has never been clearly explained, and the use of cryptocurrency operates entirely outside traditional financial regulation. Accompong Network News has not been able to independently verify the financial backing of this initiative. The community is still waiting. Donations and accountability. Beyond the NUC deal, additional financial concerns have been raised. Reports indicate that funds donated to Accompong, including money raised through online campaigns and reported high-profile contributions, have not been publicly accounted for. Among those contributions, a reported $200,000 donation associated with reggae artist Buju Banton. Where did that money go? Were records kept? Has any formal public accounting ever been presented? To date, no clear public answer has been given. The Council question. Decisions under the current administration have consistently been described as having the backing of the full Maroon Council, including the reported introduction and support of a new constitution. But this raises a fundamental question. Who is the full Maroon Council? Community members report that the identities of council members are not widely known. There is no publicly accessible list, and no consistent public record of council structure or membership has ever been made available. Accompong Network News has not been able to locate an official, publicly available document clearly identifying the current full council. If decisions are being made in the name of a council, the public has a right to know who that council is. The Constitution, 850 signatures. A new constitution has been introduced, reportedly backed by approximately 850 signatures. But the questions around it are direct. Who are these signatories? Are they Maroons? Do they live in the community? And more specifically, do they live in Accompong? At this time, no public breakdown has been provided confirming the identity, residency, or eligibility of those listed. Because if a constitution is to define governance, the legitimacy of who supports it is not a minor detail. It is the entire foundation. Moortown, authority tested in the field. What happened in Moortown in May 2022 does not exist in isolation. It is a window into how authority is understood and exercised under this leadership. An 18-year-old community member, Lamora Dillon, moved to unseat Colonel Wallace Sterling, a man who had led the Moortown Maroons for approximately 30 years. The Moortown Council did not sanction an election. The sitting leadership stated clearly, no election had been called. Wallace Sterling's own words, no election was called, there is none. The council don't call an election. Richard Currie was publicly connected to the effort. listed among the supporters of the challenger. When confronted, Currie acknowledged, in his own words, that he had no authority to call an election in Moortown. And yet the process moved forward. So the question is not complicated. If there is no authorized election and the person involved admits he has no authority, then what exactly was being advanced? The answer is documented in what happened next. Colonel Sterling reported feeling threatened. Portland police confirmed reports of threats connected to the situation. Police and military were deployed to secure the area. And according to reporting by the Jamaica Gleaner, Buju Banton was barred from entering the upper Rio Grande Valley by a police-military team. Richard Currie was intercepted at an undisclosed location and warned by the same team. The state did not treat this as a political disagreement. It treated it as a security situation. And ultimately, the process collapsed. The election that was never authorized never happened. Shortly after these events, Richard Currie addressed the public directly. In his own words, he declared he does not seek permission to defend his people. He stated that protection of his people is his fiduciary duty, and he made clear, quote, "We are in a time of modern warfare, guns and all manner of weaponry. I unequivocally reserve my right to defend my people using modern means." Those are not the words of a man who sees himself as operating within a shared system. Those are the words of a man who sees himself as the system. And here is where the record creates a direct tension. That statement was made at a time when his firearm license was under review, the same license he had previously applied for through the Jamaican state system, the same state system he publicly rejects as having no authority over his people. You cannot claim sovereignty over a system and simultaneously use that system when it serves your purpose. That is not sovereignty. That is selective compliance. The pattern. When you lay it all out, the money, the council, the constitution, the Moortown situation, the speech, a pattern emerges. Not of a leader building something transparently, but of a leader operating in a space where accountability is avoided, authority is claimed but never defined, and when challenged, the response is escalation, not explanation. This is not about one decision. This is not about one event. This is about a consistent pattern of conduct, where public claims and documented reality do not align. The community deserves answers, not statements, not sovereignty declarations, not constitutions signed by people whose identity and residency cannot be verified. Answers. Because leadership is not what you claim, it is what you can show. For Accompong Network News, this is a developing story.